Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today I'm so excited because we're going to talk about the 5 plants that have sort of kept me going this summer, like the 5 plants that I look at and I just smile really big. It has been a really big summer for us. You know, we had the baby and life has been totally different and I'm trying to keep up with my plants as best I can. Obviously, it's a huge life transition, but these plants have made taking care of my plants feel so fun even through this huge life change. So I'm super excited to talk about them. This video is also sponsored by Squarespace, so we'll talk about them a little bit later. I'm going to talk about this plant first because I feel like it will be the biggest surprise because it is a Calathea, or it might even be a Capertia. I'm not exactly sure, and I do not remember which one it is. If I can figure it out before I post this video, I will put it on the screen. Hopefully I have. It is just so beautiful. And I bought this actually at an antique mall in town with my friend. And we both got one as kind of like an experiment friendship plant situation, I think. Like we both really liked it and we're like, well, let's just both get it. We knew that we probably wouldn't have it for very long, but here it is, it's still here. And I think I bought this in late May. It was just like a few weeks before the baby came. And I have it potted in this really lovely ceramic pot. I got this from a local nursery here. It's just so beautiful. And I originally bought this, I think, did I buy this from my anthurium? I don't even remember, but I bought it a while ago and I just had it on hand and it was perfect for this plant. So I was actually even thinking about putting this in a different pot. I have this pot that is like sort of a self-watering pot situation. This is from Urban Outfitters years ago, or maybe like last year. It arrived to me with, whoa, am I gonna drop it? I'm literally gonna drop it. It arrived to me with a crack, but that has never, like, it has never leaked or anything. Of course, I haven't really planted anything in it. I just kind of use it to hold some tech equipment. I don't know why I thought I should pick that up with one hand. But anyway, I was thinking about potting this in it because it obviously has suffered a bit in the recent weeks, but we do still have a lot of foliage and we have a new leaf. This is new. So it just, I don't know, it brings me joy that in this crazy season of my life, I'm still somehow able to keep this alive. In my head, I thought to myself, this is a long-term flower arrangement. Nothing brings me joy quite like bringing a plant back from the dead. So of course I have to talk about my Hoya Linearis. This is probably about half as big as it was when I bought it originally, but I feel so proud that I was able to save it. I do still have a few pieces propagating that I probably will put them in here if and when they ever do propagate, but it was a big learning curve to propagate this. I propagated this top part using the butterfly method with sphagnum moss and they all rooted, but only one of the pieces, or maybe 2 of the pieces, actually put out a new shoot so far. So I don't know, it was at the point that I felt comfortable potting it into soil, and the rest of this like lengthy part was propagated in water and it rooted really, really well, really fast. And I don't typically propagate Hoya in water, but with this one I was like, you know, let's just try it and see what happens. And it worked out pretty well for these strands. Of course, it did take a couple of tries to get it to root because the first time it just rotted and I was like, I ended up chopping it again and then just sticking it back in the water a lot more haphazardly. Like I really didn't put any thought into it at all. And like the time when I was like so meticulous about like propagating it and like making it look, I don't know, extra good, it just rotted. And then when I just haphazardly chopped and shoved it in water, it did so much better. So I don't know if there's something to that. Just keep it simple as possible. I actually bought this plant as a reward to myself for launching my website, daylookplants.com, years ago. And to have a piece of that plant still is really special to me, although I would love to have a bigger Linearis. Now that I know how to propagate it, I do feel confident that when it gets long again, I can propagate it and just pot it back into the top of the pot here. So speaking of websites, I guess now is a great time to talk about Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to promote your business and sell products online or share about your knowledge and whatever you do online. I personally use it for my podcast. We have a website where we do show notes, we sell merch, we also just update and like talk about who we are as hosts. And I also use Squarespace for my personal website for similar reasons, so that people know what I'm all about. If a brand is interested in me, they can look at my website and see sort of at a glance what my content looks like. So I've integrated some YouTube videos, I've connected my Instagram, I have set up a store, so I sell merch on my website, or I will be selling merch on my website when it launches. So I'm gonna need another plant to reward myself for another website launch. I also plan on using the email campaign features to just discuss maybe like a monthly roundup of some content that I made that month. There's so much that you can do on a Squarespace website, and it's really easy to build one just by using their drag and drop templates. So if you're interested in anything that I just said, you can check out Squarespace at squarespace.com/BeccaDeLaPlants. And when you are ready to launch your website, you can use my code BeccaDeLaPlants for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, next up, I want to talk about, I'm gonna discuss this angel wing begonia. And specifically this begonia is the Immaculata. I don't know why I just called it just an angel wing. That is the type that it is, but is the Immaculata. I just love the way that this plant looks. I love that it grows like horizontally. So you can see there's a lot of empty stem down here. And I do find that cane begonia like this will fill in down here. Again, eventually I can actually see some pieces that are starting to grow. You might be able to see it, but if not, you'll have to just trust me that it's there. I love how long these are. Like, look at how long that is. Yeah, I think ever since I potted it in this plastic pot, it has done so much better, which is pretty much the theme of my houseplant care lately. I have been a through and through terracotta lover, like pretty much the entire time I've had my collection. My wall is like entirely terracotta, and I'm just moving away from terracotta because I'm finding it to be just a lot harder to maintain plants that are potted in terracotta, especially with terracotta and the De La Plants or the De La Tank soil, because the De La Tank soil that I use and designed with Tank's green stuff is very, very chunky, which is amazing, but it does dry out pretty quickly if it's in terracotta. So you might need to water more often or just like be on things a little bit more. And it's just, yeah, it's a lot of work. And so plants that I have potted into ceramic or plastic have been significantly easier just with my personal plant habits. I'm not a person who's gonna water my plants every time they need it. Like sometimes it's gonna go a few extra days, especially now. And with it being in plastic, it just takes longer to dry out, and that just makes my life a lot easier. And I feel like that literally is the reason that this plant looks like this. And so I love seeing changes that I make actually make a difference for a plant. It just makes me feel like I did the right thing, and makes me feel more confident in making that change in the future for other plants. Okay, so I have to talk about this plant. This is my Philodendron Splendid. So the Splendid is a cross between the Melanochrysum and the Varicosum. And my favorite thing is when this plant looks so much more like the Varicosum than the Melanochrysum. So the Melanochrysum gives it this like long shape, and the Varicosum gives it that like depth. So what you're seeing, this like really beautiful like red and green dynamic color, is the Varicosum. And it also has like a really pretty back of the leaves too. Definitely my absolute favorite cross, because there's lots of hybrids out in the plant world and I have a lot of them, but this is for sure my favorite. It's very, very easy to grow. I find it way easier than either of its parents, and it's just really, really satisfying. So this is actually the top cutting of my original plant because I chopped and propped it after I started growing it on this piece of wood here. So it's being grown on a plank, and it's not attached to the plank in any way, but just having the support of the plank behind it has given it sort of permission to grow long, beautiful leaves like this. As you can see, this is the smallest leaf on the plant, and this at one point was the biggest leaf on the plant when I propagated it. And as you can see, as we go up, they just continue getting bigger and better until we reached this beautiful leaf right here. So I'm super excited to see what the next leaf will look like. It is gonna be a little while before it comes out. I'm anticipating like at least a month, but this plant does grow pretty fast, and so it's just really satisfying to grow. Put it on a pole or a plank, preferably a plank, because you don't have to keep a plank wet. It'll just lean against the plank and grow really beautiful leaves like this. And the last plant that I want to talk about is actually a bunch of little plants. This is my Anthurium clarinervium seedling seedlings. So I showed on a previous video how I sowed these seeds, and in that video I talked about how I even came about to having the seeds and growing them and pollinating and all of that kind of stuff. So I will have that link down below if you're interested in doing this yourself. It was very easy, and I would highly suggest anyone do it if you can. There are like, I don't even know, probably 15 to 20 plants in here, possibly more that just haven't come up yet. But yeah, there's a lot in here. I have a lot of clarinervium. I will be doing some sort of giveaway and maybe selling a few of them eventually. We will see how many make it past this stage, because there already are a few that I'm thinking are not gonna make it past this stage. So I kind of want to see where things land before I give these away to people, because I want to make sure that they're gonna be happy. It has been a really interesting process to see this all happen, and this has all occurred during my postpartum process, which was very stressful on one hand, but also like really cool on the other hand. So they actually didn't sprout until like maybe a few days before or after my baby was born. It was very blurry. That whole week or two was very blurry, but I do remember during that time I saw them come up and I was like, oh crap, now I have to care for these seedlings too. And it was a relief that they came up, because it did take them a while, because they're just in spag and they were under a grow light. And so I don't know, I just didn't know if they were too far from the grow light, like if it wasn't enough. This was my first time ever being like this successful with seedlings. I have grown anthurium seedlings that I purchased from somebody else, and they got to this point and they never got past this. So I am interested to see like what happens now. Some of them have put out 2 leaves. I don't know, like maybe at this point I could transplant them. I honestly don't know. If you've ever grown anthurium seedlings, please tell me like what you did. I don't know if I have a lot of space to pot them all individually into soil. I'm a little stressed out about the prospect of that. So I'm gonna probably watch some YouTube videos to see what other people did when they got to this point, because I haven't really thought past this, because I didn't know or think I would get to this, to be honest. Like I was really kind of pessimistic because other people's seeds work, but why would mine? Like, I don't know, I had like a little bit of imposter syndrome about it. So they worked, and now I have like 20 plants. So anyway, next time I get seedlings, I will probably be selling a few, giving away a few, or not seedlings, like actual seeds. And then hopefully they will germinate for people. And that'll be like a fun situation to like have shared my joy here. So anyway, this has just been really cool to see them grow. Even though it was a little stressful, it was just really cool to see my hard work pay off in that way. So thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring. I hope that you enjoyed seeing some plants that really just brought me a lot of joy this summer, in a time when I was honestly not very focused on my plants, as everybody can probably understand. I have done the bare minimum to keep them alive, and there are just certain plants in the collection that like really stuck out to me, and I was like, wow, like you're doing the most. You're doing the most, and you're just bringing me a lot of joy, really like bringing that love of plants back into my heart, because it can very easily become stressful when you have as many plants as I do. So yeah, I'm really thankful for these plants for bringing me back down to earth, and yeah, giving me something to smile about today. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you give it a like, and if you're not already, subscribe to my channel for more planty content like this. We also do plant vlogs where I show you how I'm taking care of all of my plants. I do have quite a big collection, and it's a lot to maintain, so it means a lot of plant chores videos. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.